Okay, we'll see if this works. All right. See if that stays right there. All right. So this is my first live video. The purpose of this video is to go ahead and explain all the video clues. So if you see me looking down, I've got some notes here, and I've got another phone that I'll be going through the video clues and explaining them. There really is no point. This could have been a video. There's no point in really going live. The only thing for me is that my video upload time is really long, and so this is just, in my mind, as far as I understand it, if I go live, it's already uploaded, and I don't see myself having to edit a lot. I'll try not to say or right or like, but if I do, then they're already on there. All right, so again, 2 people joined up, so just in case you missed it, I'm going over the video clues, and you haven't missed anything. I'm just starting. Yeah, okay. All right, so, and this video will stay up. As far as I understand, it's live, so I'll be able to post it, and it'll stay up afterwards. So just going through, we'll start with the first 2 videos. I'll just go in order. An introduction to the game and our update 1 week until launch. So I learned a lot of things from this experience. One of them was it's better to be prepared, which is kind of a no-brainer. In my mind, I really wanted to jump on this quickly and use all the excitement and momentum from Skydrop. So I feel like I waited as long as I could. Other people were talking about starting theirs. I kind of wanted to be first. In business, there's something to be said for being first. There's also something to be said for doing it correctly and having the best product forward. I feel like I kind of reached some sort of medium between them. So, looking back on it, I was like, why did I choose to film it in a car? I mean, it was tough. On the weekends, I work and I have to get up at 4. So I don't know. I had another video that I shot in a kitchen with a little better setting. But I was stumbling over my words a lot. I didn't really know the script as well, and it was really long and rambling. So I managed to cut it down, and then I just reshot it again in the car because I didn't want to have to wait till Monday when I was off again to post it. I don't know. So that's why I ended up shooting in a car. That was some of the comments I got were, why are you shooting it in a car? All right, moving on to the day 1 video. The day 1 video, in my mind, I wanted to start the videos, start the clues easy and easy to grasp, and then slowly get more difficult, and then toward the end go easy again. So it'd be like a bell curve. So the first video, because the circle was massive, if you remember, go back to the day 1 circle, the circle was massive. So the first video, it really was just don't go in the water because for day 1 circle included a lot of water. And I wanted to make the hunt as safe as possible. Looking at the hunting times and the hunting schedules for a lot of the areas, in Tennessee, the area that I ended up placing the gold, it was just bow and I think front loader or black powder. Rifle, I think, started like the weekend after. So I was like, well, I want to definitely get done before rifle season. And from the people I ran into, some of the hunters, they mainly use the area that I was in for dogs. I guess they hunt. I think open season was for the duration of while the hunt was on was like raccoons. I think a lot of coons, and I heard dogs when I was placing. So I don't know if anybody who was out hunting heard dogs. I didn't hear anybody say they did, but if you did hear dogs while you were out there, I don't know, say something in the Discord or let me know if you heard dogs. But yeah, so that was something I hadn't thought about while I was there, was the dog aspect. Like, what if a dog comes across the gold and like alerts his owner? So I was like, man, I gotta like figure out where raccoons stay and try to place this where raccoons don't go. As far as the gold being found early, I wasn't really worried about a hiker stumbling across it because the area I put it in, there's no like hiking trails. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to the day 1 video. I'm gonna try my best to stay focused. Okay, day 1 video. The clue was JJ talks about he's not a swimmer. I mistake him for a swimmer. So the clue is no swimming. So and most people picked up on that. Unfortunately, there are some little creeks nearby. I mean, the water when I was there, maybe an inch or 2 high, a couple inches high. So I realized that did throw a couple people off early on. Was okay. Well, if you said no water, maybe there's no creeks near it. And then how do you define near? But I don't know. This is all learning experience for me going forward. So day one clue was no water. I mistake JJ for a swimmer, not a martial artist, and he says, "No, man, I don't even know how to swim." All right, so that was the clue. And the day three, this one again threw a lot of people off. I thought it'd be pretty easy. JJ seemed to agree, and a few people I showed the video to, they seemed to agree. But the clue there was off trail, because I wanted people early on to not focus on the trails, which a lot of people didn't get. They still kept focused on the trails. As when I was hiding the gold, I was like, you know what? My vision for this whole thing is, half mental, maybe half physical, or 60-40. I didn't want it to be 80% mental and 20% physical. Because in myself, I don't know, I picture myself as like a half and half guy. So I'm trying to do this for the half and half people. I don't consider myself a really super strong on the mental side. I consider myself half and half. So in my quest, I'm trying to decide, okay, you know what? Even if you find out exactly where the gold is, it's not going to be a walk in the park, which those of you who were out in that area who managed to get to it, you can attest it wasn't a walk in the park. I mean, it's difficult. It's off trail. It's a lot of bushwhacking. Couple elevation changes. In my mind, nothing crazy elevation-wise. But again, I've done some wild hikes in the past. And then the whole laurel and thorn aspect, which is why I did a winding path, which also threw off a lot of my times. I didn't at all do any straight movements, which I kept referring to my compass, the compass on my phone, to make sure I oriented. And I'm going to release a map with my walk path shortly after this. But early on, I kept trying to penetrate into the middle section, and I ended up hugging the road because the vegetation wouldn't allow me to get in. So that really took me a long time to penetrate the vegetation. So that was the day clue for the magnets. Okay, so I'll talk about the cipher now. Cipher warning, if you're watching this later and you're still working on the cipher, you want to puzzle it, pause or skip this part, I guess, because I'm going to explain it. So I've always been fascinated about ciphers. Again, I'm not like super cipher crypto guy, but they do fascinate me. So I wanted to do my own, and I used a D20 because in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's random. It's a D20 dice. Unfortunately, this is 26 letters of the alphabet. So this is what threw some people off, because it was really a one shift. I lined up the alphabet on one side, A to Z, and then I took out like the six least used, and I posted them in the Discord. I'll post them again. But off the top of my head, it was O, I, Z, Q, U, Y. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that's right. So I took out those 6 letters, so then you're left with 20. So I rolled a D20 because I'm in the Dungeons and Dragons and I have D20s lying around. And I just, whatever the dice rolled, I corresponded it. So like if the dice rolled a 7, if I'm doing A, going down the list A, and I roll a 7, then A equals A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? G, so A equals G. That's how I set it up. And it just so happened, dumb luck, that E actually ended up equaling hey, good morning, A, B, C, D, E. E6. So yeah, E, I rolled a 6 on E, so that meant E was a straight transfer. So no shift in the E. So again, I put out the first clue, the magnets on the first magnet clue, which is day, off trail, day 3. All right, that was need to hike. So again, the clue that JJ is saying, hey, my stove is always off, which is that's weird. I mean, that's a weird thing to say. And then when I told him to grab any snack in the pantry and say it's trail mix, and he just happened to grab peach rings, which again, Georgia peach threw people off. And he said, hey, this is my favorite snack, trail mix. All right, trail. So if you're watching the video looking for things that stuck out, and yeah, JJ got a little creative with the script. I said he could ad-lib, so he threw in some wild things. But the 2 things that should have stuck out as the most is blatantly he calls peach rings trail mix, and he says his stove is always off. It doesn't work, always off. Yeah, so off trail, and then the magnets spelled out need to hike. Need to hike was the clue there. All right, so we've covered video 1, video 3. All right, so you should be thinking it's not on the water, it's off water, and I need to hike, and it's off trail, off hike, need trail. Okay, next one, number 5. So the video clue for number 5, got it pulled up right here, is my product review for the towels, and which, hey, shout out to, I think Odious picked it up that 95% off of the price equaled very close to the coordinates. Okay, yeah, I'm getting back to the baseball player. I saw the question with the baseball player. That's coming up. We're still on video. We're on the day 5 video. Yeah, day 5 video. All right, I'm going in order. Okay, so yeah, so the day 5 video. Yeah, shout out to the product review. So I wanted to put another magnet clue, all right? Because I figured it would take 2 or 3 iterations. I don't think anybody would have gotten the magnets right off the top hand because there's just not enough words to solve it easily, unless you brute force it. But then you wouldn't know what to check against. So I threw up the magnets, and then I put in other magnets around it. But I didn't want to. I put any magnet grouping with a number. All right, so any magnet grouping with a number that would have had. So let me pull up the video here. I'm gonna pull it up on this phone so I can explain a little better.
Pursue your passion for working with it.
That's an ad, but yeah, it was supposed to be far. So here we go. Let's go. All right, so I'm talking about the product review, and I've got it pulled up about like 2 minutes into this video. You'll see, 2WH turn sideways. You'll see 45, 8X. All right, you've got 9X divided by 9 down here. So anything with a number is supposed to be thrown out. All right, and then I threw back later in the 3rd video, I took out all the miscellaneous numbers. That way it's just, again, the solid grouping. All right, so moving down now, we're going to the first card video. So that's day 7. All right, so the first card video is follow the animals. That was the clue. So this one was no shift in the cipher, and I just took, if you're, from what I've read in the cipher community, cards are pretty common because there's 13 of them in a suit, A to 2, or ace to 2. And so you have 2 suits, and that's 26, so it's pretty easy to make. To allow repeat letters, I did red and black. So again, I just wrote the alphabet down, split it into 13 and 13. So the top 13 were all black, and the bottom 13 were all red. And again, this one I just randomly assigned. There was no dice rolling. I just picked, okay, A will equal whatever, A, and after this, I'll post in the Discord again what the actual numbers and cards ended up equaling to. But that was follow the animals because I wanted people, again, so that's 3 different times I've iterated. There's no trails, off trail, far from trail. Follow the animals was a game trail kind of hint. So if you're looking for this and you're like, okay, what do I do? Follow the animals. I did hear some pretty wild theories that are coming out. But again, I'm new to this. This is my first time running it. I did try to tell people not to overthink. But follow the animals was a hint to follow the game trails. As much as I could once you found the area where the gold was, I followed the game trails. All right, this next one was a map, which I thought was one of the easier ones. Most people, I think, picked up on the highways pretty quickly. So we're talking about the map clue, which is the day 9. You had 77 and 20. At this point on day 9, the circle was still pretty big. And so I wanted to give people, hey, if you solve the clue, this will give you a good search area to use all the other clues I've said and apply them to this small area. Because in my mind, again, if this hunt goes all the way to the weekend, which is I'm so glad that it was found early in the week, because if the hunt goes to the very last weekend, it's kind of, I think, a failure on my part as a creator, right? And what's the point of all the video clues if everybody just waited for the last circle? So I did kind of realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe the clues were a little bit tough. Also in my head, remember, I'm just coming from Skydrop where like thousands of people joined. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have, maybe 1,000. I didn't think I'd get it that big, but I thought at least a couple hundred people working on this. There's definitely going to be some crypto guys, definitely going to be some puzzle code experts. They're going to get it. But the map one was, coming into a week and a half, almost a third of the way through. I wanted to make it a little bit easier. So yeah. And a lot of people They overthought the arrow. I mean, the arrow, it kind of ended up, if you overlay that map on like a real map, it did overlay pretty closely. And at that point, I'd already started to get feedback that people were like looking in areas where there's no water. So I put a couple blue dots next to where the gold was. Hey, you know what? There is something blue there. All right, and that was the creeks that are there. Great shout out to whoever figured out figured out that Fort Sumter, like the battle thing, that was pretty cool. JJ Campground being exactly 3 hours from Teapot Town Fitness, a coincidence. Yeah, that was a complete coincidence, man. A lot of the interactions with me and JJ are ad lib off the cuff. We'll do at least 3 takes for each video. I'll say, hey, this is what you need to say. This is what you don't say, and anything else between, you just we go off the cuff and go with whatever take is the best. So yeah, that was completely coincidence. The JJ Campground being 3 hours from Tap Out Fitness. Okay, so that was day 9. Now we're going into day 11. This was another one I thought was pretty easy, but again, it's different. When you're thinking like me, which you guys will have an advantage next time. That's the same. I think there's a mention 3 hours, 3 days. JJ Campground. Yeah, there was a lot of coincidences in the videos, which are wild to go back and look through. Okay, so day 11, we're talking about the Diablo video. So I wanted to kind of mimic top YouTubers or influencers, whatever you call them, with the videos and the thumbnails. All right, and I did reaction, interviews, product review. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a gameplay video. On my Xbox right now, the top 3 I'm playing are Diablo, Assassin's Creed, and just classic Minecraft. All right, so I figured, you know what? Diablo's one of the newest ones. It might be, get some hits off of that. So I had JJ. It's JJ actually playing, and he's terrible. He dies 3 times, and I had to keep cutting it out because he kept dying. He's trash at Diablo 4. So it's JJ playing Diablo, and then I hired one of my good friends. She's lives in Spain, from Spain. So I was like, hey, can you speak Spanish? And I did a chat GPT. Hey, chat GPT, give me a description of Diablo 4. And I was like, can you read this out? And then at that ran, I think, like 3 or 4 minutes. And at the end, I was like, okay, here's a description of a blue dragon, which is not in Diablo. And say in English, I want you to say Blue Ridge Dragon, because it's you got the Smokies and you got the Blue Ridge, and they kind of right where they're ending, kind of over that area. So that part's in English. So I don't know. Again, when people are used to puzzle makers of a high caliber, and then I'm thrown in the mix, it kind of does throw them. So I know a lot of people were spending effort on translating it. We're looking into all the different areas. We're looking we're digging deep in the gameplay, seeing they were like counting skeletons, see if that meant something. Guys, just don't, for the next one, don't overthink it. It's me, it's Froggy. All right. That was day 11. All right, so now we're going into day 13. Okay, day 13. Day 13 is one of my favorite spots to eat at. Dave's Hot Chicken. And this one was Indian. There's a lot of, there's Indian Reservation, and there's Indian Boundary Road, and then there's, the lake. So I wanted people just to think Indian. We're coming up day 11. We're almost halfway through. So I figured, okay, you know what? People should have the state by now. The circle is still pretty big. I mean, a massive search radius, but Tennessee is only in a small area. YouTube wall trans. Okay, yeah. So I guess people were able to figure out the English words, which kind of might have thrown them off even more if you're studying all the words. For thanks, guest user 17. What was I saying? Blue Ridge Dragon. So I wanted people to focus in on Tennessee, and which I had 2 other clues before talking about Tennessee. But of that area of Tennessee, there's a very, very small section that has to do with Indian reservations. While there is still other reservations in other of the states, if you had included on Tennessee, that would have started to get you pretty close. So that was all day 13 was about. All that eating chicken, JJ talking about Tom Mack and all the Fiji training and all that. It's just Indian. All right, here we go. Day 15. Day 15. Oh, yeah. Doug, the dog talent scout. All right, this was fun because the best actor out of all of us was the dog. Just an amazing, phenomenal actor, Sammy. Sammy's a great dog. which we did introduce early on. We introduced Sammy in the kitchen video, and so it was funny. Had to do the trick thing. She never did do all 3 tricks, but 2 out of 3 was the best she did. Understandably, it's not the dog's fault. We're calling the dog by another name that's not the dog's name. So I'm surprised she listened as good as she did. But Iris is the state flower of Tennessee, which I didn't see anybody mention in the Discord, but I'm guessing some of y'all got that. I don't know. That was probably one of the more clever, or I thought, clues that I put out. And there was another, okay, and then 1 to 2 hours. So me talking about, hey, how long do you walk your dog? All right, hey, how long are we supposed to be walking? And 1 to 2 hours is kind of, if you're doing more than 2 hours, you're kind of in the wrong spot. Which again, looking back, some guests made some of the players made good points on timing, which I think going forward, I'm going to do my best to avoid using timing, because it's one thing for me to throw up a general photo and say, hey, good luck, find this marker. Then it leaves up to you. But it's another thing for me to throw a general photo and then say, hey, it took me this many minutes, all right? Because then you're starting to eliminate, and you're spending time on it. And I think I'm gonna take the heat on that one. That's just my bad going forward. That I'm gonna try to do better as a creator. Put clues that don't frustrate you. That's something that I run into a lot on other treasure hunts that I participate in. I get frustrated on clues, and that's the last thing I want to do is frustrate you. So that was me. That's JJ. It took me about, I'm curious to know from Fuzzy, and I think Team Money ended up finding it too, how long it took from road, or the closest road that you parked, to get to the spot that the gold was. So I'd be curious to hear that. Knowing that, I mean, they're going slower because they're looking everywhere. And I was going slower because, again, I knew I wanted to put the gold in that general area. I didn't know exactly where in that area I wanted to put it. I was going to try to push, originally I wanted to push deeper in. And there's a box ring created by Rhodes, Turkey and Rafter in that area. I wanted to go like all the way to the center. But after about an hour of bushwhacking and going through, I'm like, man, that's pretty deep. I don't want to be unusually cruel and force somebody in there. But it is, I did want people to put a little bit of sweat, a little bit of work. Again, we're thinking 60-40 mental physical, right? And, I wanted you to feel like you earned it, which from what I hear from Fuzzy, I mean, her banged up feet, the thorn scratches. I mean, it was just an amazing experience to make it. Okay, so getting bogged down in there. Day 17. All right, so now we're on day 17. So this one is the 3rd magnet clue, and I didn't put any distracting things around it. It's just where orange. That was the clue. Oops, I should have put a cipher spoiler warning if you're still trying to solve it on your own. So maybe go back and forget that part. But where orange, that was the clue. Because, again, this is an area for mainly that hunters use. There's not a lot of trails in there, although there is a horse trail close by. And coming up is the baseball clue, so I'll say something about the baseball clue. But, where orange was the clue for this one. And there's a couple E's in this one. So this, if you solve this one, you should have taken some of the letters and gone back to the other magnets. But again, I wanted this treasure hunt to have ciphers in it, but I didn't want the solve to necessitate a cipher. So for those of you who are on YouTube and who watch the YouTube clues and the pictures, I wanted you to know the general area by like day 20 something, even if you weren't good at puzzles, because I didn't want to exclude anybody. It's just you would have a disadvantage. If you went to the other side of Rafter, there was a Gold Branch Creek. Yeah, I didn't see that when I started, but I did see that pointed out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I also saw, I don't know who it was, someone was actually like in the creek, following the creek, which could have been smart, but there was a lot of fallen trees from the hurricane that kind of crossed it and made it difficult. Okay, so now we're on day 19 video. All right, so this one was another one, very interesting. I wanted to get my friends in it because Adam, the guy with the beard, and Toya, the girl in the back seat. Love the whole hunt. Personally, I think you did a good job. Hey, I appreciate it, Jesse. I appreciate it. All right, so I wanted to do a video like in the car, safely, not me holding the camera. The camera was mounted. Because my friends have been asking to be in it. You know, everyone's jealous of JJ. JJ's in all these videos, and you just met him. All right, so I was like, all right, let's do a video. This one, because we're focusing on Tennessee. In my mind, you should have gotten Tennessee. So I personally, when I drove down from Baltimore, a lot of the roads were closed because of the hurricane, so I couldn't do the southern route. So I came down, and there was another video with road clues that never made it out. But coming down, and so I passed, after Knoxville, I passed the towns of Farragut, Lenoir, Loudon, Sweetwater, Madison. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right because I'm not a local to Tennessee. But so we used the words far, LL Cool J, and London, sweet, and mad. And we kept repeating those words for the first couple minutes. So if you were looking at, if you're already focused on Tennessee, and again, I don't know if anybody got, no one mentioned that they got this clue, so I don't know if anybody did. But if you followed the towns of Farragut, Lenoir, Loudon, Sweetwater, Madison, that goes down, and then Madison cuts in. So if you follow those three first towns, Farragut, Lenoir, Loudon, Sweetwater, and then cut in at Madison, that leads you to Tellico Plains, which is kind of an area of where we're focusing at. All right, and here's the one you guys have been asking about, the baseball one. All right, so my best friend's name is Tyler Maslanik. Wade is his middle name. Hope I didn't just dox him. I probably did. Anyways, don't do anything bad to him. And I told him to come up with the baseball name, and he liked the alias of Frank Clemens. So those are the three names he threw in. My disregard of sticking to one, similar with JJ and John. He's like, why do you keep calling me JJ? My name's John. Is those aren't important. I mean, the names. The main thing for the baseball one was I basically threw out Toledo Nuggets, TN, like it's Tennessee. If you still haven't gotten it now, like it's Tennessee. And then the map was the big one, which, again, unintended. There's apparently a couple different roads that look like that shape. All right, so let me pull up maps on here on Google on my phone. Because, man, I feel bad. There was a couple people that really like the other road that looks almost exactly like the one I drew is they were following along. All right, so I've got, all right, let me see. Hopefully this shows up on camera. Let's see. So that was what, let's do a little closer. That is what I was trying to draw right there. You know, it looks like a little finger sticking out with a knuckle, and that's Indian Boundary Road. And then at the last half second, if you zoom in even, well, let me do a different sort of viewing, maybe satellite. Yeah, this shows better. At the last second, it splits right here. And that's where it splits. I mean, it splits into rafter and turkey at almost like the back end of the finger. So that was me drawing, hey, if you're already looking in Tennessee, if you're already looking near Indian, and if you follow the other clues, this little finger should stick out. Now, like, I don't know, a couple miles north, there's another like short stubbier finger that actually matches my drawing better, which I don't know how many were clued in on that. A few of them were DMing, hey man, I found the finger shape you were looking for. And in my mind, I'm like, oh no, that's the wrong one. All right, so Tennessee, okay, so then the last clue that actually made it out, the day 23, was the bushwhacking and winding. So again, yeah, and the stream was Ball Play Spring, which again I'm like, oh, didn't see that there. All right, so the day 23. All right, so the playing cards again, and bushwhacking and winding was the thing. Because I wanted you guys to think, okay, we're off trail, and that in my mind, I was already getting questions about the time. So in my mind, which I threw out the time to try to make it easier, but I probably shouldn't have done that. Lesson learned. Winding was the path I took, and if you were in that area and you're like, man, nothing's clear, well, I have to bushwhack everything. That was a sign that you should go ahead and you're on the right track. All right, so this we're hitting about the 30-minute mark. I think I'm gonna leave this up. I'm gonna wrap this up, and any questions that come from this video, put back in the comments, put back in the Discord, put back, and then I can do another video to answer it. I'll also do a video on the picture clues and what I was thinking, because I don't know, I took about 50 photos. But a lot of the clues, when I was in there hiking, I was like, oh, this is a great landmark. And then when I got back to Maryland, I'm looking through the photos, like which ones do I want to post? I don't know, it didn't come out as clear, or there's a lot of things that look like that, like the upturned tree. I saw that massive upturned tree. I'm like, oh, this is a great landmark. And then who was the one that was looking and hiking? They found like 8 of them in their area. I'm like, oh, well, a hurricane just came through, so there probably would be a lot. And so the area I was in, there was only that one big one, but near it, there was a bunch of other ones. So like, hindsight 2020, maybe not the best clue. It worked for Fuzzy. What else? Some of the other ones, like the clearing. The clearing from satellite, well, just a cheap Google free satellite, there wasn't a lot of clearings in that area. So I'm like, okay, if you find this clearing. And then when I was on the ground hiking to it, I only passed that clearing. But if you come in from a different direction, there could be other clearings. So again, that clearing with the 2 broken off trees, I'm like, hey, that's pretty unique if you find this. Also, which again, I don't want to get too far into this, but there was arrows in most of the photos. Everyone saw the first arrow, but I don't know if anybody saw any of the other ones, which I'm gonna go back and circle the arrows. But like, after I took the photo and I tried my best to wipe the metadata from it, I would put just an arrow shape. And then I would change the opacity. So the first one, the opacity was at 100. So the falling log, you saw a black arrow that pointed off kind of in this direction. That's the direction I went. And then the next one I put in the stream, there's a black arrow in the shadow. So if you're reading this live, see if you can go back and find it. It's in the shadow of one of the bushes. It's a black arrow. The opacity is, I think, almost at 100, and it points off in the direction. And then the other ones, arrows are higher up, and their opacity is like 30 or 20, so really lower, fainter arrows. Again, I don't know. I think everyone found the first arrow, but I don't know if anybody. Yeah, hey Jesse. Yeah, I learned the metadata from Skydrop that there's some like super geniuses out there. So I'm like, you know what? I sent the pictures like twice to myself on AirDrop. I tried to wipe them twice. I posted them on like another Instagram account to see if that would wipe it, and then I put them back. And then I even changed the dates. So I did a lot of things to try to hopefully throw it off. But yeah, the arrows. Yeah, the arrows are. The arrows are in there. I think one of the hardest ones is in the log, because the arrow is like a yellow arrow and the opacity is like 5 or 10. I don't know. Even I know where it's at. I have to zoom in a couple times and find it again. But that was just an extra thing in there. Similar to the maps, the coordinates. I think everybody got my little wink at the fair play. The center coordinate for the first map is in the town of Fairplay. So it's like, hey, let's be fair for this thing. But the first 8 days, the coordinates spell something out with the towns. So it's free because the first 4 towns, FR, and then Edgerton or Edgers, whatever, and then the next one's a date. And Tennessee was declared free or became a state in 17 or whatever. But anyways, the first if you look at the town names and like the first letter of the address that the first 8 center coordinates are, it spells out a little something. That was intentional, but it wasn't meant to be like, that was more just like a little hidden clue. I don't know, a lot of clue makers, or a lot of treasure hunt creators put little things in there, just kind of as a self wink, an Easter egg. That's what you would call it, an Easter egg. All right, so again, we're getting long. I'm wrapping this up. I'm going to Barnes & Noble, and I'm going to get this book, and hopefully it's there. I called them. They said they had it, so we'll see. But any questions you have, put them in the Discord, put them on the comments for this video, and I'll try to address them. Again, I'm going to do another video where I break down the videos, and I still have another video coming of why I chose the spot that I did, how the hurricane played into effect. I might even touch on the moral dilemma I have of, am I an asshole for even, I don't know if you cuss. All right. Am I a jerk for even doing this game with the treasure hunt, with the communities affected? There's a lot of things, and the people I talk to, and again, maybe I have a biased group. A lot of the people I know in that area are military, and they're like, yeah, this hunt is awesome. Go ahead and do this. It'll be a fun distraction. I don't know. So again, I touch on some of that stuff in other videos. All right. So wrapping this up because it's getting long. Thanks to everyone who watched it live. I didn't even announce it. I didn't know if anybody would watch it live. So I really appreciate you guys. Thanks, Jesse, for the comments. Yeah, good luck, man. Yeah, let's get that book. And I don't know. In between, I do have another hunt coming, and there's going to be some exciting news I'm going to announce pretty soon. I've got the funding for it. I'm going to get the coin soon. I have an area where I want to go. I'm going to scout that out. But I also have finally some press lined up, so that'll be good. All right, more stuff to come. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good day. Bye. How do I turn this off?